Manchester United promote under-21 star to Mikel Carrick's squad after 2 Premier League games. Manchester United under-21 boss Adam Lawrence has confirmed Shea Lacey is now considered a first-team player. The 18-year-old, once dubbed by fans as the Scouse Lionel Messi, only made his senior debut under Ruben Amorim in December. The England under-20 forward played 6 minutes as a second-half substitute in the 2-1 loss at Aston Villa 4 days before Christmas. Lacey then spent 3 first-team matches on the bench, but played in both matches during Darren Fletcher's short stint as interim boss. Man United's No. 61 caught the eye in his late cameo in the 2-2 Premier League draw at Burnley, almost scoring the winner. Where has he been? Gary Neville quipped on commentary, watching the youngster hit the crossbar from the edge of the box. However, Lacey was then sent off in the FA Cup defeat to Brighton 4 days later and hasn't been around the first team much since. The winger has only been named on the first team bench once since Mikel Carrick took over in January and has struggled with injury. Yet Lacey, who has scored 8 goals in 9 Premier League 2 appearances this season, is now fully recovered from a calf issue. He's always had an elite technical level. He can do things with the ball, which are, without getting too carried away, genuinely first-team level. But he's been a later developer physically, so players like that need more time and patience, Lawrence continued on Lacey. Day to day, she will train with the first team and basically follow their program, and then be topped up with under-21 games when he needs to be playing. Carrick and his first-team staff have ensured that they have been regular fixtures at academy games during their time in charge. But the Red Devils interim manager will miss the under-21's quarter-final clash against Real Madrid in the Premier League International Cup on Tuesday for a 4-day training camp in Dublin next week. Lawrence joked that he would try to sweet-talk Carrick into releasing Lacey from the senior travelling party so he could play Los Blancos. I'd have to try and sweet-talk Mikel, smiled Lawrence when asked if the teenage sensation would be available against Madrid. She has had 1 or 2 little niggles that have disrupted his rhythm a little bit, but he's definitely someone the club is really excited about, he added. But this has been the biggest block that he's had with the first team, touchwood uninterrupted, and he's training at a good level. He's managing that sensitive transition from the under-21s into senior football. But for the moment, the first team has him day to day. Man United's under-21s are set to play on Friday afternoon away to Leeds United before that crunch clash with Madrid at Old Trafford. Of course, as a coach, you want to have Shea available for as many games as possible, Lawrence continued. But at the same time, what he's doing with the first team at the moment is really, really good and beneficial for him. We do believe he is a player that can fully transition into the first team eventually. Mikel has been supportive. He understands the marquee games for the academy, and the ones that he and the club feel are good to be involved in. They would obviously support, but not at the expense of what the first team is doing or their program. But Mikel already told me last week. I had a short conversation just around the program next week for the 21s and basically how the first team can support that. Manchester United just confirmed an exciting first team promotion. Manunited youngster Shea Lacey impressed in a handful of cameos for the first team before picking up a small injury. Manchester United academy coaches are level-headed when they speak about young players. They want to temper expectations, but the mask slips when a lad from Liverpool is mentioned. Listen, everybody in the world knows about Shea Lacey, Travis Binion effused in September. It may have sounded exaggerated, but Lacey has been the talk of academy circles since he was a boy. Adam Lawrence discussed Lacey earlier this week, before pausing for a moment to consider his words. She can do things with the ball that, without getting too carried away, are genuinely first-team level, he said. Those admissions alone are enough to tell you that Lacey is a wonderfully gifted footballer, but any fan who watched his first team cameos against Burnley and Brighton should already know that. Lacey came close to scoring a winner against Burnley at Turf Moor in January, striking the crossbar from the edge of the box. Where has he been? Gary Neville quipped on commentary. Darren Fletcher turned to Lacey on the bench at the closing stages against Brighton in the FA Cup third round. His fearlessness on the wing was a breath of fresh air, but the youngster picked up a second yellow card for throwing the ball to the ground in frustration. United fans applauded Lacey as he returned to the dressing room. The youngster looked distraught and pulled his shirt over his head. He's disappointed because he cares, and he understands, and he knows he will learn from it. There is no doubt about his talent, said Fletcher. And it was a steep learning curve today, but we believe in Shea. He's one of our most exciting young prospects, and I'm sure at Old Trafford he will have a chance to make amends for that in the future. Lacey served his suspension and was last named in a senior squad against Fulham on February 1st. He then picked up a minor injury, but has now fully recovered and rejoined first-team training. She is quite a unique case that you don't see a lot because he's always had a higher level, like elite technical levels, interim under-21 manager Lawrence told the Manchester Evening News.